analyst desk to break that match down.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. That's right. We'll get to see them play against Immortals tomorrow. Cloud9 moving to 6-3 with that win, so much better start to their split than summer of last year. They're going to be happy about that, but I feel like there's so much to discuss in this game. I want to get right down to it. Let's start with some of the things we hit on in the pregame, specifically comparing and contrasting these two shot callers. We had said coming into the game, Matt showing some hesitation as a young shot caller, Hai being that veteran split-second decision maker. I do feel that Matt stepped up in the sense that he was making many aggressive split-second decisions. However, not all of them panning out maybe the way he would have expected.
Yeah, I think that what Matt suffered from here is in Rebirth, he ended up saying that he was definitely a little bit shaken up because he didn't make a call. He didn't force himself into action to win the game. He said he could have single-handedly won their previous game. And now I think he's overcompensating. I think that he's taking the hesitation out of his play, but now he's jumping on every opportunity he even thinks is an opportunity. Right. And so the decision-making behind them seems to be lost in terms of taking his hesitation away.
Yeah, if you look at all the team fights this game, actually every single one was initiated by TL up until the Baron. And it's a little bit of overfighting when you think about the fact that you're playing against this Malphite Nunu, and you have a TF Quinn, and you're kind of just forcing these 5v5s when you have a very strong global game.
Yeah, you have a 1-3-1 comp eventually.
Yeah, perfect example of that in the mid lane. We saw underneath the first tier turret of Team Liquid. We're going to pull this up for you. We have that same exact scenario happen. Looks like a good fight for Team Liquid. Matt decides to initiate. As you'll see here, it rolling out. Yeah. The Kalista ult comes through. I mean, three-man pulverize. Everything looks good. However,
right there. Yeah,
Piglet just steps up way too far.
Yeah, Piglet steps up into range, getting Malphite ult. The Corki Q comes through, and Kobe had mentioned that in the cast. I mean, we always talk about it, the mid-game power spike from a Corki. That is not the position you want to put your team in there. On the side of Team Liquid, you lose a turret, kills. They even then put a bunch of, or I do believe secured that second-tier turret after a couple waves. So that's a huge gold swing right there. And then, as you mentioned, Mark, we saw those fights continue to be initiated throughout the remainder of the game, and it almost seemed like they had put their foot on the gas pedal and refused to take it off there on the side of Team Liquid.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to be very objective about what's a good fight to take and what's not when you have Kalista, Alistar, and TF. You can basically take any fight you want, but you have to know when it's a good fight to take and when it's just you trying to pick anyone off because you have the tools to.
Yeah, and I think that Team Liquid have actually been suffering from this ever since they brought Matt and Dardoch on, is what is the fight that they need to take? And also I think that their shot calling is rather one-dimensional, where I feel like the only ways they seem to know how to win the game is by fighting and winning a skirmish. When we've seen those games that they suffer from trying to close it out when they have a lead, they just keep throwing themselves at the enemy team over and over and over again, and sometimes it costs them the game.
Yeah. On the flip side of things, Hai, let's hit on him for a bit. I mean, that guy started playing like a man from level 1.
Yeah.
You're just solo invading on the enemy jungle, picking up CS where he wants. I mean, I feel like he was empowered to do as he pleased in this game.
He had a little bit extra health. 200 from a Ruby Crystal is pretty significant level 1.
That is true.
But I mean, he did get that from the first blood that he, hit the critical binding to do.
Yeah, he hit 2 bindings in that whole exchange in order to secure that. Missed the third one on map there that maybe would have gotten him a second kill. Who knows? But yeah, definitely playing with some confidence, which is interesting because it contrasts a point that he made earlier in the year that as a support player, he didn't necessarily feel empowered to make those solo plays. He did have that Ruby Crystal to help give him the confidence, but him showing a little bit of that gusto on a champion other than Alistar is good to see, because I know that was another issue that we had with him earlier in the season on support champions.
Yeah, that was the challenge, is what is his pool like? What is his support play like in terms of mechanics? And it seems like it's getting up there. I'm assuming that him and Bunny Fufu are kind of doing their reps. He does still have some work to do, of course,
right.
Yeah,
to expand that pool further, but the calls are just something that he definitely changes the communication on that team.
Yeah, I mean, he's played Morgana, I think, the last 4 games, but that's like a C9 specialty. Lemon played it a ton.
They will do what they do until you force them to do something.
Yeah, that's
different.
just like C9. Like, they played Morgana every game when it was Lemon. Bunny always had a good Morgana. Now Hai is picking up a Morgana.
Exactly. The way he was playing Alistar, people realized he was playing Alistar. They said, no more Alistar. He's like, great, I'm going to pick a Morgana. I'll play that until you tell me I can't play it anymore.
Yeah.
That's how it's going to work.
Yeah. There's one more thing that I actually want to touch on here.
Absolutely.
And it's the way that the draft went, going all the way back to that, because you last picked the Twisted Fate, your mid laner, when you already see Corki and Lucian, and then you allow your Quinn to get counterpicked by a Malphite. I've been playing a ton of Quinn, and playing against a Malphite feels awful. Malphite and Aurelia just wreck your day.
Yep.
And then there's nothing you can do at that point. So I think actually saving your top lane pick and countering and having a fluid type champion select as opposed to one that you come in and say, this is what we're playing, is something that is very prevalent and is actually working really well. Like, just look at Immortals, right? They adjust their champion select based on who they want to counterpick and who also picked early in the other team's draft.
Well, and what's even more curious about it, I mean, and it's a one-game sample size, but our first game of the day today, Fox picked Malphite. Renegades chose Quinn into Malphite. They actually chose it in, and we saw how that worked out. So you would think this is only serves to support your point here, Irene. It's like questionable that you would take the Quinn, allow the blind, the TF coming through. Your thoughts on how Champion Select played out?
There's a bit of a give and take to hiding picks and showing them. So TF is a champion that will define what your team comp is going to do. And so when you show TF in your second rotation, you're kind of going to give away that we're going to go for like a global pick you off kind of comp. And Quinn shows a little less of that. And then there's also the Lucian pick, which up until I think this weekend, EULCS was only bot lane, and now we saw it top lane once. And I know some teams have been like trying it out. It's been seen a little bit, and so it is in the back of your mind like that Lucian might not go bot lane.
Right. So there is an argument to support a team like with decision-making process. Now, hindsight being 2020, we can sit here and say, obviously, the Quinn was not ideal as the Malphite came through. You know, overall, though, an interesting comp, I think, that resulted here for Cloud9. We already touched on the Morgana being a comfort champion now for High, the Morgana, the Alistar, but also, too, having balls on a Malphite, I think, is going to yield a lot of success for a team like C9, where in the past has gotten some criticism for his inability to step up on the world stage and play the likes of Fiora and such. If he plays the role of that tank initiator and gets those three-man knockups like he did in that replay, then that's all they're really going to need on the back of C9's shot calling.
Yeah, I think having a Malphite with Cloud9 is actually a really good thing just for the team and the dynamic, because High is going to be like, go in. He's going to tell you when you need to ulti, who you're going to ulti. And I also think that having that champion for him, it's rather safe too. So you don't have to make these big plays. And now you have Rush, Jensen, and you also have Sneaky in the bot lane. So you have three people who have the potential to carry.
Right.
Just support them.
That's what I was going to say is like Jensen and Sneaky both play team fights really, really well. So if you give them some setup with the Malphite, then they will follow up correctly most of the time.
Yep, Cloud9 picking up steam with that win, back to their old former self maybe. We're going to pull broadcaster lane swap, but meet us back here in just a few minutes for our next match. Team Impulse versus TSM. You're watching the North American LCS.
Dardoch was like trolling me in solo queue, so I wrote something like, I hope Liquid plays you in LCS so I can get a free win or something.
Wait, you said that?
Yeah. And he said he's gonna post it if they win.
Big set of knockups, a whole lot of CC. They turn right back around. Look at the burst damage. That's 2 kills.
We can fight. Go. I'm exhausted, Quinn. I'm binding.
Pops the cleanse, but Dardoch turns it back around. Achilles bring a flash away. He's staying alive. Plenty of damage, but there's the hit. He got Piglet and Lorlo, both marksmen. And C9 will tie CLG once again in second.